At my own 30th birthday party, in front of 40 guests, the speaker accidentally played a recording of my mother-in-law telling my husband exactly which poison to use on me and how long it would take to kill me without leaving a trace. I want you to picture the most beautiful birthday setup you've ever seen. Fairy lights, pink balloons, a 3-tier cake with my name on it, 40 of my closest friends and family, all dressed up, all laughing, all there for me. This was supposed to be my night. I turned 30 that day, and my husband, Rohan, had planned everything. Every single detail. The decorations, the catering, the playlist, the photo booth. He even ordered my favorite flowers. White roses. 24 of them. Everyone kept telling me the same thing all night. You're so lucky. He's such a good man. You two are goals. And honestly, I believed them. Rohan and I had been married for 4 years. We met through mutual friends, fell in love fast, got married young. He was charming and smart, and yes, sometimes moody. But who isn't, right? I always made excuses for the moods, the silences, the moments where he would look at me like I was an inconvenience. I told myself that was just marriage. Real marriage. Not the fairy tale version. We didn't have kids yet. That was a point of tension. Not from Rohan, from his mother, Margaret. If you've ever had a difficult mother-in-law, you think you understand. You don't. Not until you meet Margaret. She was a small woman. Neat. Always perfectly dressed. Always smiling that tight little smile that never reached her eyes. She called me dear in a way that sounded like an insult every single time. From the very beginning, she made it clear. I was not good enough for her son. I didn't come from the right family. I didn't have the right job. I didn't cook the right food. I didn't laugh at the right volume. But Rohan always defended me. At least, that's what I told myself. My mom is just old-fashioned. She'll come around. She loves you in her own way. I held on to those words for 4 years. The week before my birthday, something small happened. Something I almost dismissed entirely. I walked into the kitchen while Rohan was on the phone. He didn't hear me come in. And for just a second, maybe 3 seconds, I heard his voice. Low, urgent, almost a whisper. It won't be much longer. Just be patient. Then he turned around, saw me, and his whole face changed instantly. Big smile. Relaxed voice. Mom, I have to go. She just walked in. He hung up and kissed me on the forehead. Birthday planning, he said. I don't want you to hear the surprises. I laughed. I actually laughed. 3 seconds. That's all I heard. And I let it go completely. I should not have let it go. By 8:30, the room was full and completely alive. Laughter everywhere. The smell of food. Someone had just finished singing happy birthday, and the whole room was still clapping when Dev, Rohan's cousin who was managing the music, stepped away from the speaker to grab a plate of food. His phone was still connected to the Bluetooth. Nobody noticed. The song that was playing started to fade out. And then, silence. Just 1 second of silence. The kind that makes you look up from your conversation. The kind that makes the whole room shift without knowing why. And then a voice came through the speaker. Not music. A voice. Margaret's voice. I heard it before I understood what I was hearing. That's the thing about shock. Your ears work before your brain does. I heard the sound of her voice and I thought, that's strange. Why is someone playing a voice recording? And then the words landed. She's been a problem from the beginning. You know that. I've always known that. The woman standing next to me stopped mid-sentence. Someone across the room quietly put their glass down. I turned toward the speaker like my body moved completely on its own. Mom, I know, but it's not that simple. Rohan's voice. From the recording. My husband's voice, coming out of a party speaker at my own birthday, calm and low, like he was discussing something completely ordinary. The entire room went still. Not quiet, still. There is a difference between people stopping talking and people stopping breathing. 40 people, completely frozen. A pink balloon drifted slowly across the room. Nobody reached for it. It is simple. There are ways, Rohan. Ways that leave no trace. You crush it into a powder. You put it in her tea, her coffee, whatever she drinks every morning. I felt my champagne glass start to slip from my fingers. Someone grabbed it. I don't know who. A little every day, and within 3 months, it looks like organ failure. Natural causes. Nobody questions it. I could not feel my legs anymore. I was standing. I know I was standing because I didn't fall, but I could not feel my legs. The fairy lights above me suddenly looked too bright. The pink balloons looked wrong. Everything looked wrong, like a stage set that someone had carefully built just to trick me. She can't have children anyway. You've wasted 4 years. You're almost 40. Think about your future. My aunt, my mother's sister, who had flown in from out of town just for this night, put her hand slowly over her mouth. My cousin started crying without making a single sound, just tears running silently down her face, standing completely still. Mom, don't mom me. You need an heir. You need a real wife. And you need to be free. I'm telling you how to be free. Dev finally realized what was happening. He lunged across the room, grabbed his phone, fumbled with it, dropped it, picked it back up, and finally disconnected. The silence that followed was the loudest thing I have ever heard in my entire life. 40 people. Not one of them said a single word. They all turned slowly and looked at me. And I want to tell you I was brave in that moment. I want to tell you I stood tall, set my jaw, and held it together like a strong woman. But what actually happened is this. I looked down at my hands, and I realized I had been holding a glass of champagne all night that Rohan had personally handed me when I walked in. He had smiled at me, said, "For my birthday, girl." I placed the glass down on the table so carefully, so slowly, like it was made of something dangerous. And that is when it hit me. Not the betrayal, not even the marriage, the coffee. Every single morning for 4 years, Rohan woke up before me and made my coffee, brought it to me in bed on a little tray, sometimes with a flower from the garden. I thought it was the most romantic thing in the world. My friends were jealous. My own mother said, "Hold on to that one. Men like that are rare." Every morning, for 4 years, I had thanked him. Every single morning, I had smiled and said, "Thank you, babe." And he had smiled back. My best friend Maya was already at my side, her hand gripping my arm, her voice low and urgent in my ear. "We need to go. Right now. We need to go." But I could not stop staring across the room at Rohan. And this is the part one need you to really understand. He did not look horrified. He did not look panicked. He did not look like a man whose world had just collapsed in front of 40 witnesses. He looked like a man who had been caught. There is a massive difference between those two things. A horrified man moves toward you. A horrified man says, "What was that? Where did that come from? What is happening?" Rohan was standing completely still, just watching me, not panicking, calculating. And in that moment, surrounded by fairy lights and white roses and a birthday cake with my name on it, I understood that I did not know the man I had been sleeping next to for 4 years. I understood that every single morning coffee had been a deliberate choice he made. And I understood that I was still alive only because something had gone wrong with his plan. Not because he loved me, because something had gone wrong. Maya pulled my arm hard. "Hospital," she whispered. "Right now." I nodded. My legs somehow moved. Rohan followed us into the hallway. He shut the door behind him. And before I could even open my mouth, he started talking fast. "That recording is old. That was from 2 years ago." I told her absolutely not. I shut that conversation down immediately. I would never. "You kept the recording?" Maya said. "I didn't keep it. Dev must have. I don't even know how that got on his phone." "This is insane. This is a misunderstanding." "That was your voice," I said. "That was your voice on that recording. You didn't hang up. You didn't stop her. You said it's not that simple." "Not that simple. That means you were considering it." He grabbed my hands. His eyes went wet almost instantly. "Listen to me. Listen to me right now. I love you. Do you hear me? I love you. My mother is unwell. She has always been unwell. You know how she is. She says terrible things." I recorded that conversation because I was going to use it to get her help, to report her. I didn't know what to do. I panicked. I kept it by accident. "Baby, please, look at me." I looked at him. "Have you been putting anything in my coffee?" Silence. 3 full seconds of silence. And then, "How can you even ask me that? What kind of person do you think I am?" Not a no. A deflection. A "how dare you?" A make me feel guilty for asking. I pulled my hands away slowly. "I need to go to the hospital." "You don't need to go to the hospital. You're not sick. You're upset. This is just a trauma response." "I have been fatigued for 6 months, Rohan. 6 months. Stomach problems. Hair thinning. 3 different doctors couldn't explain any of it. You're catastrophizing right now. Please, please don't do this. Not here. Not tonight. Not on your birthday." He was crying now, real tears streaming down his face. And the worst part? A tiny part of me, that small, exhausted, 4 years in love part of me, almost felt sorry for him. That is what manipulation does to you over years. It rewires you. It makes you feel guilty for trying to survive. It makes you comfort the person who is hurting you. Maya stepped firmly between us. She is going to the hospital tonight. And if you try to stop her, I will call the police right now and play that entire recording for them. Rohan stepped back slowly, and I saw something move across his face then. Something I had never seen in 4 years of marriage. Something cold and flat and completely empty. Something that had nothing to do with love at all. He nodded very quietly. Fine, he said, almost to himself. But when the tests come back normal, I hope you'll remember that you chose to believe a stupid audio glitch over your own husband. Audio glitch. That is what he called it. 40 people heard his mother's voice, crystal clear, explaining exactly which powder dissolves in liquid without changing the taste, and he called it an audio glitch. I walked out of my own birthday party. Cake still on the table. Candles still burning. 30 tiny flames flickering. I never blew them out. The hospital ran tests that same night. Blood work. Urine analysis. Every panel they could think of given what I told them. 3 days later, the results came back. Traces small, consistent, repeated traces of a compound in my system that had absolutely no business being there. The kind of thing that in small daily doses over a long period causes fatigue, nausea, stomach problems, and eventually, organ failure. The kind of thing that, if nobody had ever found out, would have looked exactly like natural causes within a few more months. My doctor sat across from me and said words I still hear every single night when I close my eyes. This did not happen by accident. And given the timeline you've described, this has been ongoing for quite some time. You need to contact the police immediately. I sat in that chair and felt two things at the exact same time. Relief, because I was not crazy. I was not paranoid. I was not catastrophizing. And a grief so deep it had no bottom. Because the man who brought me coffee in bed every morning, the man who planned my birthday party down to the last white rose, the man who cried in that hallway, that man had been slowly, quietly, and very patiently trying to kill me. I pressed charges that week. Police arrested Rohan 2 days later. Margaret was brought in for questioning the same afternoon. Dev, it turned out, had actually kept several recordings. He had been suspicious for months and had never known what to do about it. Those recordings became critical evidence. During questioning, Margaret did not cry. She did not beg or break down. She sat across from investigators with her hands folded neatly in her lap and said, very calmly, that she had only ever wanted what was best for her son, that I was destroying his life, that some women take everything from a man and give nothing back, and someone had to do something about it. She said it like she was describing a business problem she had solved efficiently. No guilt, no remorse, just cold, quiet certainty. Rohan hired the best defense lawyer money could buy. His argument? That he had never actually done anything. That yes, he had listened to his mother. That yes, he had kept the recording. But that he himself had not poisoned me. That the compound in my system could have come from contaminated food. Environmental exposure. Anything. His lawyer was very, very good. And here is where I have to stop and tell you where things actually stand right now. The case is still ongoing. I am staying with Maya. I have lost 20 pounds. Not from the poisoning, but from the grief and the sleepless nights and the way my brain replays every single morning of 4 years. Every cup of coffee. Every thank you, babe. Every smile he gave me back. I have a lawyer. I have my medical records. I have the recordings. But I also have a decision I never expected to have to make. Through back channels, an offer came. Not from Rohan. From Margaret. Her lawyer contacted my lawyer privately. She is willing to testify against Rohan. Fully, completely, with details I don't even have access to, in exchange for full immunity for herself. She will say Rohan acted alone. She will say she advised against it. She will say she is a mother who was manipulated by her own son. And if I accept this deal, Rohan almost certainly goes to prison for a very long time. But Margaret walks free. The woman who sat calmly and described, step by step, how to dissolve poison in someone's morning coffee, walks completely free. My lawyer says take the deal. The evidence against Rohan alone might not be enough for a full conviction. Margaret's testimony changes everything. It almost guarantees he goes away. But every single part of me is screaming that she should not walk free, that she should sit in a courtroom and answer for every word she said, every plan she made, everything she set in motion. If I reject the deal, I might get full justice against both of them. Or I might get justice for absolutely no one. My court date is in 6 weeks. I have not slept properly in 3 months. And every single morning, When I make my own coffee now, I stop before I drink it. I just stand there for a moment. Every morning. I don't know when that will stop. Maybe it never will. So I am asking you, the people reading this right now, the strangers who know my story better than most of the people who have sat across from me at dinner, what would you do? Do you take the deal and make sure the man who poisoned you spends years in prison, even if the woman who planned it walks free? Or do you fight for complete justice, risk losing everything, and make them both face what they did? Because here is what truly keeps me up at night. Margaret is already in her 60s. Even if convicted, even if she serves time, it will not be long. Rohan is 38. If he goes to prison, he loses decades of his life. Is half justice better than the very real risk of no justice? And if you let someone like Margaret go free, someone who sat in a police interview room with folded hands and no remorse, and explained poisoning a human being like it was a recipe, what does that say about who we protect in this world? What does that say about what justice actually means? I don't have the answer. I just know that 6 weeks ago, I was standing in a room full of fairy lights and white roses thinking I was the luckiest woman alive. And now I am here, asking strangers on the internet whether I should make a deal with the devil to cage one monster, or burn everything down and fight for the whole truth. Tell me what you would do. Drop it in the comments right now, because I am running out of time. I am running out of certainty. And the only thing keeping me standing is the belief that somewhere out there, someone survived something impossible and found their way through it. I just need to find mine.